Hi guys, and welcome to this new video. So if you're like me, you may well love having flowers around the house. This time of year is perfect for daffodils, and I always make sure to pick some up from the supermarket or florist when I can. They're just so pretty, and it always seems such a shame when they finally wither away. But the marvellous thing is that this is actually the perfect time to take your loved and admired daffodils and turn them into something you can use. Ink and dye. To start, you will actually want withered daffodils. This is because the sap is actually toxic to human skin, and once they wither, the sap has started to dry up. Nevertheless, get some gloves anyway and start taking the flowers off the stems. You'll only need a dozen or so, but I don't want to waste any of these, so I'll use the lot. A quick little note, I usually use bulk daffodils for this. Naturally growing ones can be used if that's all you can find. The fact that they need to be withered is actually a good thing. At least the bees and other insects can get what they need first before we harvest them. But do remember a few important things if you do take any wild flowers. Never take more than you need for personal use, and only take the flowers themselves. A few is more than enough, and we actually have to be really ethical when we're using nature's gifts. Try to collect them from plentiful areas where there are already lots of daffodils growing, and make sure there are plenty left behind. And also use snips. Cut away what you need and don't pull or tear the flowers, you might accidentally damage the bulb. Once you have your flowers, if you'd like to wait to make your ink or set some aside for later batches, now is the time to dry them. Lay them out flat on some paper and put them somewhere moisture free and out of direct sunlight. Once they're dry, you can store them in an airtight container for a later date. To extract the colour from your daffodils, you're going to need to take your flowers either fresh or dried. You'll need a few pieces of equipment dedicated for non-food uses. So you'll need a pot, a small spoon, a jar, some cloth, alum powder, which is an acid to help extract the pigment, a pipette, a long-term storage jar which has been boiled and sterilised, gum arabic to thicken the ink, and some oil to prevent mould growth. Oregano oil is good for this, but you can use tea tree oil, cinnamon oil, or clove oil, which will work too. If there's anything that you still need to pick up, I've put a link in the description for you that goes direct to my Amazon store. They are affiliate links, so I do get a small commission if you do choose to buy through those links. Once you've got these things gathered, pop your daffodils into a pot, cover with water, and add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of alum powder. Pop the pot on a low heat until it begins to simmer, but make sure it doesn't boil because that can actually destroy the colour. Once it simmers, leave for about 20 minutes, or longer if you want to concentrate that pigment further. Once the time is over, take your pot off the heat and allow it to cool down. Once it is cool, you can actually strain the dye through into your first jar. For ease, you can add the gum arabic to this larger jar. You'll need about half the volume of the liquid in arabic to make the solution a good consistency. You can add the oil too. Now, the gum arabic gets really sticky. In the last video I made about turning horse chestnut husks into ink, which you can see here, I put the gum arabic straight into the long-term storage jar, and that was a mistake. Now, you can let the solution sit, or you can actually stir in the gum arabic to help it dissolve. This can take a while, but it will work eventually. Now, once the gum arabic is dissolved, you can go ahead and decant the ink into a storage jar using a pipette or some other decanting solution. The ink/dye is now good to use. You may find that the pigment does fade over time, both in the jar and on the artwork or the paper that you've chosen to dye. This will take some experimenting and testing. You can use this base colour for dyeing paper, dyeing cloths, or just using it as a nice background colour to any of your paintings. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and I hope you enjoy making your own daffodil based ink/dye. If you'd like this tutorial on how to dye paper, let me know. I actually haven't tried it yet, but I would be excited to try it out for you. Now, after all, quick shout out to the folks on the inside of the Inspiration to Creation Collective, the membership aimed at supporting artists with weekly painting hangouts, monthly workshops and more. Feel free to come and join us via the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you for the next video. Bye guys.